It's time to pick a side. The Border War is on the air with BG and 10. All right, true believers, welcome into episode 134 of The Border War. This is our NFL prediction show where we will say things that will haunt us for the rest of the NFL season. Unlike some shows, though, we go back and tell you how wrong we were. The Oakland Raiders will be in the Super Bowl.
Derek Carr is going to be your MVP.
This time last year, the man to my left said those very words in our temporary upstairs studio, which were much too echoey.
Yeah, I thought it would be a good idea.
It had a cool vibe.
It was a cool idea, but it just didn't work right.
I am BG. I'm here with the TanMan. You can follow me on Twitter at BG_Border War and TanMan at, I can't remember his handle.
Yes, you do. Say it.
I don't.
You're in charge of the intro, so you have to say it.
TanMan.
What was that?
That I couldn't hear myself. Anyway, and you can follow the show at the Border War. Many of you have chosen to follow the show and ignore the hosts, and that's fine.
I ignored one host.
How many followers do you have? I have 12. How many do you have?
820 something.
You've got 820.
Nah, it's 6 something. It's 6 something.
Okay, you're doing better than me. I don't try that hard. Plus,
well, neither do your team, so it fits right in.
Hit a little button. Hit your button. Oh, it's hilarious. I'll tell you what, man. And they probably never will, but we're still doing this thing, and something flips. Woo!
What do you mean something flips?
I'm just saying.
Like what could flip?
Your teams could be terrible sometime. Your team still may be terrible this year. They've got plenty of time, man. Plenty of time.
It's a long season.
All right, so we're going to do our NFL predictions. Like I said, we will be picking every division. We'll be picking our playoff spots. As we do that, we'll make a Super Bowl prediction, and then we will round out our picks list with our 5 NFL games against the spread for this week. So, how do you want to start this, TanMan?
Let's start in the AFC.
All right.
Let's start in the AFC East because this seems to be.
I think it looks like I did a lot more work than you did.
That's not.
That's
not that unusual. I don't really do that much.
I have actual mathematically consistent record predictions.
All right, now I can give you record predictions, but like we talked, did you actually go through and go, okay, well, if this team wins, that means this team has to lose, or did you just take a guess at the numbers?
Yes.
Wrong. AFC East.
I did do the in-division records in my head.
Okay. The AFC East, this one is the easiest of the bunch, so start us off.
The most boring.
Yeah, the most boring. So who you got finishing second in the AFC East there?
I've got the Jets finishing second at 9-7. What?
I'm just laughing at your record. And I really am crossing my fingers that there's a division on that piece of paper where you have every team in 11-5.
Well, the good thing about this, though,
please,
it's not going to happen. I do use the same records a lot. It's funny about NFL records because it's not like baseball records or even NBA records, right, where the teams have such a wide, number of games that the records are all over the place. In the NFL, you feel like you have these records you've memorized. Oh, they're a 10-6 team.
They're
an 11-5.
Everybody's going to be 8.
They're an 8-8 team, right? Yeah, but you already know what the numbers are. Go 9-7 for the Jets, second place.
Have you got a third place team or a fourth place?
No, I didn't know.
Team?
I thought you were going to give your second place. I didn't know how we were doing it.
Oh yeah, no.
I have Buffalo finishing third at 8-8. I think they have a decent season, and Miami is just Miami. I don't know how they stay down there, but they do at 6-10.
I agree with everything you just said. I have the AFC.
Oh, and I have the Clemson Tigers. The New England Patriots winning that division at 11-5.
That's a given. I agree. Your order is spot on. You got more faith in the Dolphins than I do, though. They've traded away Laramie Tunsil. They are all in the whole tanking for Tua. If they really wanted to tank for 2 more years, they could tank for Trevor.
How do you feel about Josh Rosen right now, man? Can you imagine how he is going to just...
And he's not even starting now. I think Fitzpatrick is starting. Somebody. It's not Rosen.
Is Fitzpatrick? I can't keep up.
I can't
I
keep
did
up.
see a stat on Twitter.
But it's not Rosen. He's not
the first quarterback in NFL history to start on opening day 5 years in a row for 5 different teams.
That's amazing. But no, I think the Dolphins, 6 wins, they might build a statue of somebody. I think they're going to be awful. But yeah, I've got the same. I've got the Patriots, Jets, Bills. I think the Bills could be fairly interesting.
Like I said, I've got them at 8-8, so a couple of games swing, and all of a sudden they're a playoff team.
I think Josh Allen was better last year than people kind of expected of him. And so I think they could be an interesting team. And again, I think the Dolphins are a train wreck. They're going to finish last.
On the whole, though, this continues to be the Patriots and a bunch of really mediocre teams.
For now.
For
now.
And then the Patriots will become one of the mediocre teams, and all 4 of them will be that way.
Yes. And now I think the Jets are positioning themselves to be that team, and maybe it's even Miami a couple years down the road, seeing what they do with some of these high picks that they're going to get. But which one of those teams takes over that top Patriots spot could be that division could be a deal, kind of like the NFC South, where they just take turns winning it a few years down the road. But right now, it is all Patriots. We'll move out to the AFC West. This one, I think, it could be kind of interesting. Something about the Raiders and John Gruden. I don't know why. I think that they've got Antonio Brown. They've got Derek Carr. This is like a make-or-break year for Carr. I've got the Chiefs winning the West. I've got the Chargers finishing second and claiming a wild card spot. And then I've got the Raiders in third, and I've got the Denver Broncos, the Fighting Joe Flacco's, in fourth place.
I have Kansas City winning that division at 12 wins and 4 losses, and I have them. Actually, it's the 1 seed. I think they have a better record than the Patriots do this year. I think
they were 1 seed last year.
The Patriots are going to win that division, but I think they're going to struggle as a team overall because they've just lost everything minus that one guy, and it's just because that division is so terrible.
Well, let me ask you this about the Chiefs. So you got them. You're really high on them. Number one, do you see any regression from Pat Mahomes, because that was so far and above anybody's expectations? But two, now that they had Kareem Hunt for most of the year last year, not having him this year, and it seems like they're going to go a running back by committee kind of deal. Do you think the Chiefs' offense takes a step back at all?
Not a significant one because I've watched Mahomes. I went back and watched all of his touchdown passes again last night on the internet, and I told you this last year. When I was seeing his stats, right, because I watch a lot of Red Zone, and I only get to see like score. I went back and watched, man, there's no fluke about his numbers. He is a legitimate 5-tool quarterback. Like he can make every throw standing in the pocket into a tire swing, but he can also run like lightning. I think he's going to be really hard to stop. I think they win that division, and I think they win it by a couple of games. I think the Chargers, on the other hand, take a tiny step back. I think they still finish second. I got them at 10-6. They're making the playoffs. And then the Broncos, I've got them at 7-9. I've got the Raiders finishing dead last at 6-10. I think culturally speaking, out there's some wonky stuff going on, and
I'm here for all of it.
Well, yeah, man. No, it's fascinating. It's fascinating, but
see, I think Derek. I'm just a closet Derek Carr fan.
You are. No, it ain't the closet.
Like,
man.
I think he's better than a lot of people are giving him credit for.
Could be,
but
could be. Gonna have to show me.
Over to the north.
That's more of a locker room decision for me. It's not talent. Yeah. I think the Raiders are just a train wreck, like culturally speaking. So we'll see.
Well, listen, they brought in Antonio Brown, and hopefully that cures all, right? Like he's a great locker room guy.
Let's find out if getting rid of Antonio Brown cures all in this next game.
Nice segue. Who you got in the NFC North?
That would be the Steelers at 11-5. I think that Roethlisberger looks fresh this year for a 600-pound older man, and I think that locker room kind of congeals, and I think you find out again that Mike Tomlin's actually a pretty good coach who lets some soap opera stuff get out in front of him. But when it comes to running an NFL team, that dude's the real deal, and I think they're going to remind everybody of that this year. And I think they've probably heard enough Cleveland Browns talk. I have Cleveland finishing second. I think they win 9 or 10 games. but I think that's as far forward as they move this year. Baltimore probably around 8-8, and I think the Bengals just bottom out 5-11, 4-12 maybe.
At the risk of sounding boring, I've got the same look. I've got Pittsburgh winning this division, and coming into the season, like I so wanted to get on the Browns bandwagon, and like everybody else around you has. But the more I thought about it, like
just because you're not talking about the Steelers,
right? The last 2 years they've dealt with Le'Veon Bell drama, they've dealt with Antonio Brown drama. And I think it had I think you could see the negative impact both of those guys, as talented as they were having on that team. You said it, Mike Tomlin. He let some stuff go and kind of let some guys
probably
feel their
against
way.
His better judgment.
Exactly, and I think now that those things are gone, and he's got a locker room full of, he's got the locker room.
Don't you think it feels
in.
like a breath of fresh air in that place?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think you see it in Roethlisberger too.
I think you could see the Steelers nab one of those first two playoff spots.
I absolutely agree.
Because I think
they're going to have that kind of
year. I think James Conner.
And in fact, I haven't decided that they're
year.
not. I've got New England and Pittsburgh sitting at 11-5 on my record, so really they're going to be right there.
I've got the Browns second. I've got the Browns winning 10 games. I can see them winning 11 games. I'm going to take Cleveland as my other wild card team. But I think the Browns make the playoffs, but they're not the Super Bowl team everybody wants them to be so desperately yet. Third, I've got the Ravens and the Bengals. Look, flip a coin and pick one.
I actually think there's a significant difference. I think the Ravens win 3 more games at least than the Bengals. I think the Ravens have a decent year. The Bengals, I think, look terrible.
Listen, I like the Ravens' defense. They've made some changes. I think Terrell Suggs is finally out of there, but I think they signed Earl Thomas.
Yeah.
See what he's got left in the tank. I'm just not a Lamar Jackson guy.
Well, Earl Thomas he's on his way to Dallas. He just got lost.
Well,
he'll be there someday.
Well, so was Adrian Peterson that we heard for years and years. And
no, it's not over yet. He made it to the division.
Well,
he just hasn't made it to Dallas.
You don't have that old man. But I'm not a Lamar Jackson believer. I think what he does is so different. What he's really good at is so different than what every other NFL quarterback is really good at.
No doubt.
When he got in, I think he caught some people. But again, like I've always said about these kind of quarterbacks, NFL defensive coordinators spend months and months in dark rooms over the summer watching film, figuring out how to stop you. And I think defenses are going to have a better game plan. They're going to have a better handle on how to contain him and force him to beat you with his arm, which I just don't think he's going to do. So flip a coin. I've got the Ravens in third, the Bengals in fourth. They're going to miss A.J. Green maybe for the first month or so. And that a first-time head coach, that just feels like Cincinnati is getting ready to implode. I don't know. I don't know where they're going with quarterback or if they're going to move on from Dalton or what. So we'll move on to the AFC South, and this is where I think I may have taken a leap for you.
I took a leap here, too.
I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the AFC South.
Woo!
I've got the Jaguars winning the South. I've got the Houston Texans finishing second.
Okay, we're all over the place with this one.
I've got the Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luckless Indianapolis Colts in third, and I've got the Tennessee Titans in fourth.
Here's the thing, man. Okay, so like he just said a few minutes ago, we're sorry to be boring, right, on those first 3 divisions, because one thing we do not do is plan anything ahead of time. If we both pick the same teams, we pick the same teams. Before we ever started this show, we promised each other we would just have authentic sport talk. No feigned anger. All anger you hear is absolutely genuine, as is sometimes apathy. It would have been perfect to not ring at that time because you were apathy.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm not really even sure what apathy means. So
you're full of it.
It felt like I needed to ring the bell.
I have the Tennessee Titans winning this division. Woo! At 10-6. I have Houston finishing second at 10-6. I have the Colts finishing third at 8-8, and I have the Jags in last place, winning only 6 games.
Nice. Look,
so that's going to become the whole conversation topic for the show from now on. What's going on in the AFC South this week?
No,
we're all over the place there, man.
I saw the Nick Foles career early on, and it was like a comet. It flew through the air, it burned bright, and then it was kind of gone.
Yeah.
And he goes back to Philadelphia a second time, and the last 2 years, he has led that team to the playoffs. He led that team to a Super Bowl win. Obviously, it became untenable for Philadelphia to keep him at the price tag that he was going to command. He goes to Jacksonville. They're finally out from under the Blake Bortles thing. Like, we don't have to make that a discussion point for them. I think this is a big-time culture shift in Jacksonville, and I think Nick Foles is just the man for the job. This is the one spot I think, maybe a couple others as we get to the NFC, but this is the one spot in the AFC where I said I'm going to take a swing at something, and I love the Jags.
My take on that was his complete and total lack of mobility in their offensive line concern. I think he's going to get beat up.
That's fair.
I think he's going to get beat up and turn the ball over a lot.
So tell me how you got.
I think the Colts are going to have a better season than everybody thinks. We both seem to agree on that.
Well tell me. I want to know, because we got Texas, we got the Texans, we got the Colts. I want to know how you got Tennessee in first place.
Because I look at their roster. I think they've made some really good draft picks in the last few years. I think, and look, I said this 2 years ago, that I thought it was time for Marcus Mariota to step up. I still kind of think that. I still think it's time for Derrick Henry to have a big year. And again, I'm not talking about a dominant season, right? And if the Jags fall apart, then that's a couple of those wins.
So Marcus Mariota is your Derek Carr.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assumption right there. We both have a guy who continues to hurt us, but we continue to go back to him.
Oh, man.
We're both in abusive relationships. I shouldn't joke about that.
No, that's not funny.
Actually, that's not funny.
And we are live. Like, we can't just edit that out.
I can't make – I'm sorry. Pick a bad sound for me. I actually do feel bad about that.
Let's move on.
I'm going to be quiet for 18 seconds.
Let's move on. We'll go to the NFC. We'll save the East for last. So we'll start out west in the AFC. I have got the Seahawks in first.
Whoa! My son will be delighted to hear that.
I do this all for him. I've got the Rams in second place. I've got the 49ers in third, and I've got the Arizona Cardinals. That the only thing that I can say about them is, thank goodness they're not the Miami Dolphins. They might be one and the same. Cardinals in fourth.
I think it was Colin Cowherd. I was reading his blog, kind of comparing my notes to his notes and whatnot, and I think he said Arizona would finish last, but they would have a very entertaining season. Like that it might be fun to watch, but they're not going to win many games.
I'm not sure they'll be entertaining, but
we'll
anyway.
See. It depends on whether watching a very small man run for his life is entertaining or not, I suppose.
Did you see? This is probably another one of those things that it's probably tasteless. But did you see the little meme that somebody had the first preseason game where they came out and he was like running out of the tunnel and he had like some linemen and people in front of him. He's just kind of running behind, and they said he looked like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh.
I was like, what? Oh. He was just so small, man. He was just so small.
One of those things you really don't want to laugh at, but it's hard
right
to. I've got the Rams winning this division at 10-6. I feel a little bit. I feel like they're a team that might not be as good as we all think they are. But I don't have a real good reason for that. It's just like a gut feeling. I might be wrong about that. I think the 49ers are going to be very competitive this year. I think they finish at 9-7. I've got Seahawks at dead even 8-8 at third place, and we both agree that the Cardinals are going to finish last in that division.
Here's my thing about this division. All year long last year, and really I guess the last couple of years, we've looked at the Rams and we've thought, man, their offense is so explosive.
Right.
Oh, and a big part of that was Todd Gurley. Well, after he basically beat the brakes off Dallas in the divisional round, he disappeared.
Well, again,
and in the Super Bowl, he didn't get I don't think he got a carry like in the first quarter. I don't think he got like 4 carries all night long. That offense, against a very good Patriots defense in the Super Bowl, that offense did nothing. I think this year, look, I'll admit it, I'm very concerned about Todd Gurley's knees.
Sure.
And I'm sure every Rams fan is too. I'm very concerned with that. But, too, I'm just concerned that, Jared Goff is still a young quarterback. And is there some of that Super Bowl hangover that we've seen so many times? And the flip side of that, the Seahawks have not – I don't think they finished less than 9-7 with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback. I think Seattle is ready. They're right there. They just made the big trade for Jadeveon Clowney. I think
I think they know how to use him.
Yeah, they're going to put him. They're not going to drop him in coverage. He's not going to be covering tight ends. They're going to put his hand in the dirt, and he is going to get after the quarterback. And I just think that he fits. You said it when they made the trade. He fits like a glove.
Even the uniform. I just tweeted that out a few minutes ago.
He looks great. He fits.
Suddenly,
it's
like the uniform he should have been. Like it looks right on him.
Yeah, no, it's great. I'm all in on Seattle this year. So move to the North, BG. Who you got winning the NFC North?
You know what? I really wanted to pull the trigger on the Cubs this year. The Cubs.
Don't ever.
I don't even know why.
Never. That is not allowed in this show.
Obviously, I meant the Bulls. I wanted to pull the trigger on the Bulls.
Whatever.
But, I'm going to go with Green Bay. Green Bay over the Chicago Bulls. And yes, I'm doing that on purpose. Some people you have to explain things to. I think Green Bay, look, and the same thing I said about the Rams. These are 10-6 teams. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think nobody in the NFC minus one team jumps out ahead of the pack. Everybody else is a playoff-ish team, but Minnesota, I don't know, man. I think they just feel like they've missed their window. They finished 8-8 in Detroit. I don't know how. Detroit, we talked about it, man. They're the only team other than the two of us that have gone as long as they have without winning a Super Bowl, right? It's like
it's pretty close.
Well, it wasn't a Super Bowl. It was the NFC title game. That's what it was. Not even making the NFC title game.
Yeah.
And Detroit just, I don't know. I would love to see Detroit be really good. I would love to see that, but it's just not going to happen this year.
Detroit has got the misfortune.
And I'll tell you what's going to happen, too, while I'm thinking about it. Matthew Stafford's going to walk one day, and they're going to look back on this era and think, how in the world did we have
because the next
one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the league consistently over the past 10 years who throws for 5,000 yards a season and not win football games?
And now we have Jake Bentley. What did we do wrong? Look, the Detroit Lions, to me, one of their biggest problems, other than management, they're stuck in a division with
monsters.
I think 3 historically really good franchises.
Sure.
And they
well-run franchises.
Well-run franchise. And they've just never been able to separate themselves from there. I've got the Minnesota Vikings winning this. I've got the Vikings winning the division.
You picked them last year too, didn't you?
I don't remember.
Because your Jake Carr at the wide receiver position is Adam Thielen. You just can't get enough of him, man.
I love Adam Thielen.
I know.
But I've got the Vikings. I got the Vikings at 1. I've got the Bears 2. I think Chicago.
Your wife actually texted me that she's concerned about you and Adam Thielen.
Well, look, nothing to worry about with Adam.
She says, luckily Thielen doesn't return your letters, but they're very disturbing.
Nothing to worry about with Adam Thielen, but, Zeke might be a different story. But we'll talk more about Zeke in a minute.
I checked Twitter, by the way, while we were talking, just to see.
Nothing happened yet. I've got the Bears coming back to the pack a little bit. Look, Trubisky's obviously a Tar Heel, so I'm certainly pulling for Chicago as long as they're not playing Dallas. But I just think that they won a lot of close games last year, and I think some of that stuff is bound to swing back the other way.
And I think their front 7, like it's really impressive, but in today's NFL, even as effective as they are, I think those really spread out offenses are better at taking those things out. And they've got a lot of film on that now. And I think Trubisky may be close to as good as he's going to be, which is to say a really good quarterback. But we'll see. Remember, all those scouting reports are still kind of there that he's not going to do Pat Mahomes things.
No.
And so you wonder. But there is definitely a window for the Bears to become the team. Because we know Minnesota is playing on borrowed talent, right?
See, I think Minnesota.
Cousins is what, 31?
I think Minnesota.
Cousins was older when he came in.
Yeah, he played the full 4 or 5 years in college. I think Minnesota last year they spent a lot of the year. I'm not going to say they handcuffed Kirk Cousins, but they didn't really have much of a running game. Dalvin Cook was hurt again.
I stayed away from him like the plague in fantasy.
And the thing is, they didn't really take a whole lot of shots down the field. with Cousins last year. I think this year, I've seen a couple of the preseason games. I think they're making it more of a point to use Thielen and stretch the field. That if they do that and they open up that offense a little bit, I think Cousins and Thielen could be as good of a quarterback-wide receiver combo as there is in the league.
I guess my point was long term. In the next 6 seasons, Chicago is going to have an opportunity to become the dominant team in this league. Nobody else in that division is in that position.
No, I think so because you're talking Stafford's been around a while.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is, he's been around longer than his because he didn't play for like the first 3 years.
Yeah,
and then Cousins been. So yeah, no, you're right. I think the Bears are in a position to take over. But I've got the Packers in third. Listen, I don't know what to make of them. You hear Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur don't get along this week.
right.
They do get along next week. This week, Aaron Rodgers has a beard. The next week, he's got a fantastic mustache. I don't know what to believe up there in Green Bay.
I think there's a lot of very, like you said, they're a well-run, and they've got a new coach, but they're a well-run organization. Rodgers, look, man, he's been around long enough. I don't know that all that stuff's going to impact his game. He's seen all this.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know. He and McCarthy didn't get along very well the last few years, and, I mean, let's face it. You have Aaron Rodgers.
But did they not get along because they were losing?
Well,
I mean, that's the thing.
But that's what I'm saying. You have Aaron Rodgers, and if you've got one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the league, you shouldn't be going. You shouldn't be struggling to hit 500, and they have been. So I don't know. I think there's something else there. Going over to the NFC South, I think you can toss 3 of these teams in a hat and pull one out. That's what I did. I come up with the Atlanta Falcons winning the South. I've got the Saints in second. I've got the Carolina Panthers in third. And I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 4th place. So say you, BG.
Yeah. Got Atlanta in first place at 9-7, and I do think you're right. This is a 9-7 division winner. And even though you didn't do records, you see where I'm coming from with this, right? This team these 3 teams just beat up on each other all season. There's not a dime's worth of difference between them. I've got the Saints finishing at 8-8. I think that the shine has to be off that offense sooner or later, and I think their defense returns to the form it was in 2 years ago, which is to say one of the worst in the league. And the Panthers, and I was a little bit hesitant to do this because it really is their turn to have a winning season. We've talked about that weird stat. Man, something's not right there.
I say that
something's not right. I don't know if it's Cam. I don't know if it's his. I mean, I know he got quote hurt the other night, but I would have pulled him. I wouldn't have had him in a game.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of teams are just not playing their starters, especially they're not playing them.
Their job is
all.
to win games, not worry about making money on TV during the preseason. And then obviously we both agree that Tampa Bay is a hot mess right now.
I've got Atlanta. When you look at the Atlanta schedule, yes, they've got the Rams. Yes, they've got the Eagles. Yes, they've got the Seahawks. Those games are all at home. Venturing outside of Mercedes-Benz Dome, whatever it is called, the Saints, Texans, and Colts are the only teams they play on the road that made the playoffs last year, and the Colts are obviously a little bit different than they were a couple weeks ago.
That is definitely true.
And New Orleans, look, everybody thinks, you look at Tom Brady, and he's still doing his thing, and he's 62 years old. Drew Brees is about that same age, a couple years younger, but I think you watched them toward the end of last year, and you could see him.
He felt like he was slowing down.
Kind of come back a little bit. So yeah, I've got to say that I've got the Saints not making the playoffs.
I don't.
They're not one of my wild card teams.
I guess my wild. Well, I can't. We haven't done the East.
But I say I've got the Rams as one wild card, but the Saints I've got them missing.
Winning the division. I think so far my wild card contenders in the NFC are the 49ers and the Bears.
All right, and so we'll move over to the East. BG, who you got?
I think it's the Eagles. I think. They go 11-5. I think you guys finish 9-7 and I think it's one of these things where you're literally fighting in week 17 for a playoff spot. And between the Bears at 9-7 and the 49ers at 9-7 and Dallas at 9-7, I don't know who gets it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you guys are in it right at the end. And Dallas could be one of those teams, if I'm right, that makes a wild card at 9-7 and makes it to a Super Bowl. I think they're that kind of team. I don't think that's what happens. We'll talk about that in a second. And, man, this hurts. I think the Giants have a better season than the Redskins because I think everybody thinks the Giants are going to be this dumpster fire. Eli Manning's going to start most of those games. He's not going to be nearly as terrible as everybody seems to think.
Well, you look at his numbers last year, and he's not. We give him a hard time even on this show, but he wasn't as terrible last year as everybody makes him out to be.
And I think the Redskins are a 5-win team, 5-11.
I think 5 might be generous.
Maybe.
I think 5 could be generous. I think the Redskins could be staring at a top 2 or 3 pick in next year's draft. I just don't
Too
think.
bad we already have our Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't know if we know what we'll use that on.
Yeah.
It's a waste of a pick.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
You didn't think I was saying that tongue in cheek? Come on.
No, that was an actual cough.
Oh. I thought you were just being a fool.
No. I've been.
What a convenient time to cough.
I've been pretty sick the last few days. Thanks for checking on me and
How would
offering
I
some
know
soup
that?
or something. Yeah, pick up a phone, man. Pick up the phone and call and check on your friend instead of just calling to complain about Will Muschamp and Jake Bentley.
Why don't you do the show?
The Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East, BG.
No, they don't.
The Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles finish second. They grabbed the other wild card spot in my season. I agree. I think the Giants are not going to be as terrible as everybody thinks they are.
But 6-10.
I think 5-11, 6-10. It sounds about right. And I've got the Redskins in 4th place. Look, it's not a big. This whole thing hinges on exactly when this old Ezekiel Elliott thing gets done. If the reports that I heard,
we should win the first 3 games without him.
We should win the first 3 games without him. But after that, if the reports that I heard...
The question right now is whether he's going to play this week or not. It's going to get done before week 4.
He's coming. Supposedly, he has left Cabo on his way back to Dallas. Yesterday, Yesterday they said the deal was not close. Today they said it is close and he's on his way back. But when I look at this thing,
have we seen any photos of him in his hoodie on a plane yet?
I don't know. I didn't have time to check before we came on the air.
I'm just going to refresh my Twitter right now. I feel like this could break while we're talking.
It very well could. But as far as the Cowboys, weeks 10 through 16, they have got a monster. They've got the Vikings, the Patriots, the Bears, they've got the Rams, and they've got Philadelphia. Look, I feel like if they split the New Orleans, Green Bay games in weeks 3 and 4, and they split the 2 games with Philadelphia, I think 10 wins is the basement floor. And that's before you take Minnesota, the Bears, the Patriots. If you can win a couple of those, I think 12 and 4 is definitely doable for this team.
I just don't think y'all are any good.
Well, that's where you're wrong. But and I've made the case before. The first half of last year was a dumpster fire. They make the trade for Amari Cooper. You make that trade before the season. You make it earlier in the season, and maybe you're not going to L.A. in that playoff round. Maybe New Orleans is coming to you instead. I think they were that close to making a run last year. This year, I think they make that run. They win the division.
Nope.
So those are our
trash take, man.
Huh?
Trash take. You ain't nothing but a bandwagon fan.
I'm a bandwagon fan.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm tell you what. I sat through Chad Hutchinson and Quincy Carter games. One thing I will not stand for is a bandwagon label where it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. Now, I've been ready to jump off. I'm not going to pretend I have.
I put it on your back, and you can't even reach where that label is. So you're not flexible enough to get rid of that label.
I'm Stretch Armstrong, man. I can wrap around my back.
How much time we got left? I got a funny Stretch Armstrong story.
We got 11 minutes.
You know what? You actually know what Stretch Armstrong is?
Yeah, it's like a little toy.
It's not a little toy. It's a giant toy. He's about the size of a Barbie doll.
Yeah, around, yeah.
Well, anyway, I guess at some point when I was about 4 years old, I got a booster shot or something, and the doctor let me keep the syringe without the needle in it, or a plastic one. I don't know what it was, but it had a sharp something on it. Mm-hmm. And I decided since I had had a shot that I would give Stretch Armstrong a shot. That was a poor choice. I put Stretch Armstrong back into the cabinet, where overnight he leaked out his contents all inside my mom's china cabinet. Yeah.
I'm sure.
To this day, that china cabinet is sticky on the inside. Yeah. Sticky.
Who you got winning the who's your AFC Championship game matchup?
I think the Chiefs beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship matchup.
I look at Kansas City was an offsides call.
Yeah.
And, a crazy Rob Gronkowski catch away. I mean, they traded the lead literally, it felt like, 2 or 3 times in the last few minutes of that game from being in the Super Bowl last year. I agree. I think the Chiefs get it this year. In the NFC, who you got?
I believe that the Eagles will probably beat the Rams in that title game, so we'll have the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
That's wrong.
You think Dallas is going to go? You think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and then somehow they'll get 2 trophies? Everybody's so.
I think the Dallas
surprised.
Cowboys beat the Atlanta Falcons. Listen, everybody's kind of poo-pooing on the Falcons because they blew the Super Bowl lead a couple years ago, and it feels like they're. Matt Ryan was amazing last year.
Oh yeah,
I mean he was amazing.
Yes.
This year, I think
you should know.
Yes,
he was on your fantasy.
Yes,
team.
He was. I think he's on my fantasy team again this year. He was amazing last year. I think the Falcons are primed for a big turnaround. It's not enough to be. Jerry Jones is going to get another Super Bowl before he gets up.
You pick somebody other than the Dallas Cowboys.
I didn't pick the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, you wanted to,
but I didn't.
You did.
This year I did. The Cowboys beat the Falcons. They get a matchup with Kansas City in the Super Bowl, but I'm going to take the Chiefs over the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year. However, if Ezekiel Elliott will get his butt into Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott will win the MVP. I could see him rushing. If they have the kind of season I think they could have, he'll be a big part. I could see him having 1,500 or 1,600 yards this year.
I think the Eagles beat the Chiefs and win their second title in 3 years.
Why can't you just ever pick the Cowboys for anything?
I picked them to win the second in the division. I picked them to probably make the playoffs. I mean, I'm just telling you what I see.
Whatever.
Because you picked my team to finish last, and then you want to quit. I mean, see, like...
Well, you picked your team to finish last too, so it all cancels it out.
Before the show started today, you told me you were excited about the fact that your team might have ended South Carolina football, that was exciting to you. That's the kind of person you are. So don't come on the air pretending to be friendly and question my integrity, sir.
I said at the start of the last episode that I was glad to see you, and all of a sudden, I'm not as glad to see you right now.
Because I am holding up a mirror to your dark soul, and you don't like what you see.
Nope. That is it for this episode. Those are our NFL picks. Most of them are the same. Some of them, a few of them, drastically different. So again, you can email. Oh, we didn't do our picks list for this.
We did not.
We did not. I was like, I knew we're missing something. We have time. Luckily.
We have time. That's good.
On the NFL side, why does this keep going to last week's picks? On the NFL side, last week BG and I were both 6-4. So this week we made our college picks last episode.
I guess last week they were all college picks.
They were all college picks.
Yeah. NFL is a little easier to pick, I think.
Thursday night, the Packers at the Bears. They get the season kickoff game this year. The Bears -3. We both think the Bears could be really good. Maybe not quite as good as last year. So give me Chicago at home to open the season.
Give me the Packers. I've got the Packers winning that division. If they're going to finish 10-6, Chicago's 9-7.
They got to win something. They got to win. Everybody's
going to win one of those games, and this one's a good one to start with.
Redskins at the Eagles. The Eagles giving up 10 points to Washington.
How often do you see a 10-point spread in a Week 1 NFL matchup in division?
Not often.
Man, if you're Daniel Snyder, at what point are you just like, God,
let me ask you,
what is this?
They're starting. They're going to start Case Keenum. They've already said that they're going to start Case Keenum. At what point do you make the move to Dwayne Haskins?
Me, or what do I think will happen?
What do you think will happen?
When's the bye week?
I don't know.
If I had to guess, I don't know when the bye week is. I'm going to say somewhere around week 5.
Yeah,
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, second month of the season.
So who you got? Sunday?
Oh, I think the Eagles cover this easy.
See, my general rule is if you see a double-digit spread in an NFL game.
Have you ever watched a Redskins-Eagles home opener? Eagles. I've seen this movie.
Yeah, I said
I think the last time they beat us 44-7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. My general rule with a double-digit spread in the NFL is to jump all over it. But I'm telling you, man, I think the Redskins are going to be a not very good fan. It's mostly
what you're going to see.
It's mostly because quarterback play and your left tackle is still sitting at home on his couch.
And I think what you could see in this game is a very close game by halftime. I think the Redskins' defense keeps it nasty. The Redskins, defensively speaking, may be the third or fourth most talented team in the NFL, but their offense is so bad that the defense is not going to be able to keep them in this game. Offense is going to turn the ball over. And I don't even think it's Keenum, because Keenum's done a pretty good job at avoiding interceptions. There's nobody to throw the ball to, man.
Well, you had Josh Dotson, and you tossed that away.
Are you telling me that was the wrong decision?
No, look, I mean, you can
only wait. Cut him.
You can only wait on a guy so long.
At some point, you have to tell those players, we're being accountable here.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not just because you're a first-round draft pick doesn't buy you more than a couple seasons. It's over.
No, look, at some point you got to put up or shut up, and the kid never could put up. So
and what the Redskins are going to be this year is super young, and I guess that's what you want, right? You weren't going to win anything anyway. Let's throw the guys out there and see what they can do.
I agree. Rams at the Panthers. The Rams coming all the way east to open the season. I would have thought that they would have given them a home game to open up.
Man. What kind of reward is that?
Yeah, no joke. At Carolina, the Panthers getting 3 points. Give me the Rams, and I'll give the 3 points.
I think the Rams take it to Carolina in week 1. I think they put a beat down on them. I think they win by 17 points or so.
Giants at Cowboys. I'm kind of surprised that this number wasn't a little bigger, but maybe some of it's because we don't technically have our running back yet. The Cowboys,
I think that's probably a lot of it.
The Cowboys 7-point favorites over the Giants.
I'm surprised there is a spread on this game with that situation being as volatile as it is
right now. Just kind of wait until up to game time.
Because normally when a player of that, I mean, Zeke is your offense when he's on the field.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I can't remember the guy you've got taking snaps.
Tony Pollard.
No, the quarterback. What's his name?
Dak.
I thought it was George. Is it not George?
No, see, our quarterback doesn't have just these like random forgettable names like you guys.
Yes, Case Keenum is very forgettable. Yeah, Kirk,
Case, and Kirk, and Heath.
That is pretty bad. You're right.
Robert.
Well, that doesn't fit.
What? Yeah. Robert's just a plain name.
It's not as plain as it's not as weird as Case. Anyway, I think I'm going to take the Giants. Cowboys win this game, but I don't know. It's an in-division game. It's early on. Like I said, I think the Giants are going to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this year too. I think they keep it close.
See, I think 7 is a nasty number. If it was, I would feel great one way if it was 8 or if it was 6. I think 7 might be right on it. But I'll take the Cowboys to cover, but not by much.
And I'm with you. I could definitely see it happening. But I'm trying to keep my picks consistent with sort of what I saw these teams doing, and I definitely don't think the Giants win this game. But I do think in week 1, they're healthy. Saquon Barkley gets a lot of good carries, gets a lot of clock. Eli keeps it close, but that's all they can do.
And finally, Sunday night, the Steelers at the Patriots, 2 teams we are very high on. The Patriots, no Rob Gronkowski. Still 6-point favorites over the Steelers. Listen, give me Pittsburgh and the points in this one.
Absolutely.
Man. Give me Pittsburgh and the points.
I agree.
All right, that is it. That is really it for this episode.
Do you think the Patriots win that game?
No.
I think there's a good chance Pittsburgh goes in there and takes this one.
I think Pittsburgh might win this one outright.
I do too.
Yeah, so that's it. Again, you can email the show. Let us know what you think about our picks, where we were way off, and let us know what you think. How's the NFL season going to play out? It starts, Thursday?
It does start Thursday night. Just one game Thursday night. Kind of surprised me. Usually, I thought they did like 2.
They do 2 on Monday night.
Which is awful.
They'll have 2.
Do 2 on Thursday night, man.
Just do 2. Just do away with Monday night.
Yeah, give me Thursday night football.
Yeah, just
the next day's Friday. Who in the world is excited about Monday night anything?
Nah, the shine has worn off. BG, TanMan, we're out. Those are our picks. We will see you next week.
I think Tuesday's the worst.
Hopefully after a Cowboys win.
You think Tuesday's the worst day of the week? I hate Tuesday.
I hate Wednesday.